This is TWiT.
So remember last week our code name of the week was Largo, and I said it's this thing called Xbox All Access, but we didn't really know what that was. Well, they announced it this week, Xbox All Access. And so what it is a bundle of hardware, software, and services. Yeah. So the part that I was kind of surprised about is consoles are part of this.
You get you rent a console, right? Is that how it works?
It's kind of like renting, except you're really buying it. It's more like when you get a phone from a mobile carrier, right?
Got it.
You can space out the payments.
Yeah, you can space out the payments, but you're actually buying it. Like if you cut your contract early, you have to pay for the hardware, what you didn't pay already.
Oh, so it's very much like that phone thing.
Yeah. So if you want the Xbox One S 1 terabyte version, it's $21.99 a month. If you want the Xbox One X 1 terabyte version, $34.99 a month. Okay, why do I care about this story?
Yes, Mary Jo, please explain yourself.
Does it mean I'm going to buy an Xbox? No. But as soon as I saw it, I'm like, look at what they're doing. This is what they're going to do also maybe later this year when they announce that Microsoft Managed Desktop thing we keep hearing about, which is a bundle of a Windows 10 device plus support and servicing, and you pay it as a monthly fee, like a financing deal. And so I'm like, yeah, this is what they're starting to do more and more at Microsoft. They're doing financing deals.
Let me just predict a Forbes article in which it explains that legendary Microsoft watcher Mary Jo Foley has once again confirmed that Microsoft is going to put Windows 10 available as a service.
Yep. Remember, they said they weren't going to do this.
Would I get a computer too with the deal? Like $34 a month, and I get a computer and Microsoft Windows? That's interesting. Yeah. That's actually really interesting. I bet you're right.
It is. And so what they're doing, this is the reason. Why are they doing this? These are financing deals, right? They're trying to expand the addressable market. Like they're trying to get to people who look at
like Xbox an x86 processor with segmented memory architecture.
Exactly.
no, nothing like that, actually.
No, I know what it is. Here, I got a theory. Can the dummy talk for?
No, weigh in.
Okay.
Weigh in.
So Microsoft's wanted to do Windows as a service forever, right? They've wanted to rent software forever, and they realize nobody wants to do it, or some people don't want to do it. But if you throw in a computer, if you throw in hardware, then it's like, oh, well, that's a deal.
Well, this is something I've taken advantage of. I mean, obviously, I'm not a financial guru or whatever, but, best case scenario, you shouldn't buy anything you can't afford. But the reality is we live in America. It's the 2000s, whatever. So
it's rent to own. The biggest scam.
Well, it's only a scam if you charge interest on it, right? In other words, if at the end of the 2 years you paid $1,000 for a $600 item, then you've lost. Because tied into this is this notion that hardware is going to go down over time too. So this Xbox One S and the Xbox One X are both going to cost a lot less money.
Do you own it at the end of the term? I mean,
you do.
Okay, because there is really no resale value. So it is just payments.
But I think the reason, what makes it okay, and I think what puts it in the middle from kind of a financial perspective is it's a 0% interest loan. So what you're really doing is literally they're chopping the payments by 24 and whatever that comes out to, $35 or $22, and you're paying for it over those 2 years. And in this case, what Microsoft is throwing in, they're not really throwing it in actually. So you're saving over whether you had purchased Xbox Live Gold over those 2 years, $60 a year typically, and Xbox Game Pass, which is $9.99 a month. This makes sense only if you intend to do all three of those things. Buy the console, subscribe to those two services. If you don't, you're going to be spending more money than you intended to. So there's some incentive, but there's something to think about. But when you buy a new iPhone directly from Apple, when you buy a new Pixel phone directly from Google, and if you want to take advantage of their in-house financing, assuming I guess you have good credit, whatever. I've done this over the past couple of years. It's 0% financing. You get to spread the payments over 2 years. In my case, what I've done is I've always paid the phone off within 3 months or so. But it's better to me than throwing down $1,000. I'm not walking around like Daddy Warbucks with money falling out of my pockets. So this is kind of I could see where this is useful to people. So it's that model. Microsoft offers something like this for Surface, by the way, through a different company, but same type of thing. And you're not leasing it, right? It's not like a car lease where you have to give it back at the end. You own it at the end. So you're not really paying any more than you would have anyway. In fact, in the case of the Xbox One S in particular, you're paying a lot less. I think it was $130 less over that period of time. So it's potentially a good deal for people.
Mm-hmm. And, it's meant, like I think the Microsoft Managed Desktop thing will be too, and the Surface Plus subscription thing was also, to get people who are kind of like, ooh, I don't want to shell out X number of dollars for this thing right now. But if it was only $21 a month, yeah, okay, I'll do it. So they're counting on it introducing a new audience for Xbox, and later this year, if they do the Microsoft Managed Desktop for Windows 10 devices, people who are like, I don't really want to spend $1,800 for a new PC. Oh, but I could get it for like $30 a month. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it probably would be more than that. I think $1,000 iPhone works out to $40 and change. The Xbox One X today is $500. If you add to that $120 and then $240, that's $360, whatever it is, $860. It's $34.99 a month. It's that price is approximately, off the top of my head, $30 less than paying for all those things right up front. But you're getting the thing for a much lower cost of entry, or whatever you want to call that. It's $35 a month.
Yeah.
So I'm a couple of I'm just thinking. First of all, what's the VIG? I like talking like a gambler.
No, I like the word VIG. And VIG is good.
What's Microsoft's cut?
VIG goes back to the Microsoft antitrust trial. We all understand this term.
Is it just what in other words, are they absorbing?
Let me tell you what it is, Shylock. Okay, here's what the VIG is.
I want my pound of flesh. Are they absorbing the financing costs? Or is there a little money on it?
They're going through a third party, which in this case is a Dell financing thing.
Oh, okay.
I believe I've not really
there's a little interest.
I've not gone through no. If you qualify, there's zero interest.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
0%
for 24 months.
Yeah, and then the other thing I think they're going to do, because Apple and others have done this, and then what they end up doing is doing the new phone every year thing. I could see Microsoft saying every 2 years.
Yeah,
you just keep paying, and you'll get a new computer.
I wondered if they were going to do that, because the Surface one does do that, right? Like you always get moved to the latest model, I believe.
Oh, see, I know they were already doing that. I think that's consumers. I think like that. I like that.
So here's the thing. I actually think that makes lots of sense for a phone, right? Phones are those weird things where we're having these debates over whether $1,000 smartphone makes any sense and blah blah blah, whatever it is. But if you think about the things that you use every single day and the things you use the most versus the things you might use a lot less, the phone is almost always going to be right at the top. And it's a little weird to kind of admit this, but I think it makes a lot more sense for most people to spend most of their perceived budget for technology on a phone and a lot less on a computer. And so you can make the argument, if you kind of further that, the notion that you're going to get a new phone every year, or at the longest every 2 years, makes sense, because that kind of is people's buying patterns. Whereas computers are spread out over time. If you paid for Surface through, what's it called, Surface Plus,
Surface, whatever
Surface,
that program is called, whatever it is. And let's say you got a 0% no interest loan, essentially. Yeah. 2 years went by, you bought a Surface Pro 4, Surface laptop, whatever it was, and it was $30 or $40 or whatever dollars per month, $50. I would hope that most people would then continue using that computer, at least for a year or two more, to kind of get the most value possible out of that thing. The technological innovations that are occurring in PCs on a year-to-year basis are not really that great. It may be really cool in 4 or 5 years to suddenly be introduced to the world of Thunderbolt 3 and USB-C and wireless charging or whatever it is, all these different things you might have on a computer. But year to year, I don't know, right? I mean, it's really that big of a. It's a different kind of thing,
Yeah, there are some people who always want to have the latest and greatest. Like my grandfather, I think I've said this on the show before. He used to want to get a new car every year. So he'd trade up his car every single year to get the latest model of the car.
Wow.
I'd be the person who rides the same car for 30 years.
Yeah.
And
so he left you nothing is what I'm hearing.
Exactly.
For some reason, I see this guy with a pipe, a mustache, a little hat, driving a Buick.
Little jaunty hat.
Jaunty little hat. Is that Dad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He always wore a
grandfather.
suit in order to drive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.